Yo YouTube, it's Felix here, and I know it's been a while since I posted a video, so first I want to apologize to all my wonderful subs. I've just been crazy busy with travel, new business ventures, and I'm also in the process of selling one of my very first dropship stores, so that takes quite a chunk of my time. But in this video I want to talk about retargeting, and I want to show an example of a post that I have in my group. So this is a screenshot here. This was actually last month, and this was my results just from running retargeting ads. I switched off all my main ads to cold traffic, and I was just running retargeting. So I want to talk a little bit about my retargeting strategy. I want to break down my process for you, so that you guys can implement it for your own dropshipping store. So before we jump in, feel free to join my Facebook group, Hustle Outside the Box. In there, it's where I share a lot of my insider's knowledge into dropshipping. I've been doing this for almost 2 years now, and I've seen a lot. So this is where I post a lot of my content, as well as the YouTube channel. So let's jump into it. So this is what I call my killer Facebook ads retargeting formula. Basically because it works insane. I've used it on my store, and I've used it with several other stores. I've shown a few others how to use it, and they all agree on having they all come back with positive results, basically. In other words, they make sales from it. So before I dive into the actual formula, if you're not familiar with retargeting, like retargeting advertisement on Facebook is where you're actually showing that ad to people who've previously visited your website. Now they're known as warm traffic because they're familiar with your brand, slightly familiar with a brand, and for whatever reason they didn't complete a purchase, you're able to retarget them, and they're more likely to actually purchase. So that comes to the importance of the retargeting formula, that not everyone's going to purchase from your store immediately. Like, that's very key. People need to be familiar with your brand. They need to be comfortable with what you're selling. They need to know that you are a trusted source to buy from. And then when people get familiar with your brand, they start to become what's called the warm audience. So that's a group of people who have visited your website several times. They've had a look at your product catalogs. They've had a look at your branding. They know a little bit more about you. And that means they're more convinced and more likely to actually purchase from your store. So that's what this point summarizes, that warm audiences have seen your product, they convert much higher. So they're going to generate you more sales. And then with that, you're generating yourself a greater ROI on your ad spend by advertising to these particular groups of people, these segments of people. So I'm just going to show you an example of a retargeting ad. This is a screenshot of retargeting ad I set up for another business not too long ago. Now, they were selling a product which was the average order value was $200 and something. So they were selling like a $200 product. They were generating all their cold traffic from Instagram only. I jumped on board with them, and we ran a retargeting ad on Facebook. That's all we did, one retargeting ad on Facebook. Ran it for $10 a day. It was just shy of 50 days we ran it. And over that 50-day period, it generated 13 purchases, with a total ad spend of $469, and a return of almost $2,500. So that's looking at a return on ad spend of just over 5 times. Now that's insane. That's pretty much every $1 you're putting into advertising, you're pulling back $5. Their average cost per purchase was $36. They were selling a $220 product, I believe. And the product cost itself was about 40% of its retail price. So they were making a very tidy profit just from this advertising, just from this retargeting formula that I set up for them. Okay guys, now that you know the importance of retargeting, I'm going to jump into my actual formula. I'm going to show you the good stuff so you can literally just implement this in your own e-commerce store. So first thing I'll let you guys know is I don't use the dynamic product ads or catalog ad types. This is just a basic conversions ad, and we create custom audiences manually. So the first thing we're going to do is create our custom audiences, and they're going to be broken down into 4 different time durations. So the first one being 3 days, 7 days, 14 days, and 60 days. Okay, so creating a custom audience, this is real simple. You just jump into the audience tab here under assets. Once you're in this page, you just click on create custom audience. And custom audience, we're going to do it off website traffic. Now, if you're running a general store, you just want to be targeting audiences of people who have visited specific products, or that one particular product. So people who have visited specific web pages, put in the URL of the product that you want to retarget everyone who looked at, and then you just put in your time duration. So as I said, we're starting on 3 days, switch it up to 7, etc. And just make sure you name it down here. So perhaps product name, visitors. So let's say product name, visitors, and then last 3 days, just for your own reference, so it's easy to go back and track it after. So that's essentially it. Very simple. Jumping back in here, so they're going to be website conversion types ads, optimized for purchase. I like to do all placements, and then I let it run for like a day or two, and then I look at where the reach is being where it's been given to on Facebook, and then I'll pretty much optimize it for that. So if I see that 80% of the reach is only on like Facebook newsfeed and Instagram, then I'll just optimize for those 2 places only. I'll take out all the other placements. So just have a look at where your reach is getting, because Facebook, it's going to differ. It's going to differ depending on the product and who you're targeting. And then a budget, I usually like to do $10 a day on the upper end. But again, it depends how much traffic you're running to how much cold traffic you're running to your website. So if you're not running a hell of a lot of cold traffic on the front end, then you're not going to have a lot of remarketing traffic on the back end. So with that being said, you guys can start on a $5 a day budget, and then as that traffic gets bigger on the front end, you can start increasing your budget on the back end for retargeting, so that it basically balances out. So add creative 1. So this is the very first creative I set up. So it's going to target all our visitors from the last 3 days. It's going to be a carousel ad type. So that's going to be a conversions ad, and it's going to be multiple images, like a little slideshow. Now this ad is going to look like it's a customer review ad. So I'm going to use customer images. I'm not going to have a call to action button, and I'm going to make it look like a review. Now I'm going to show you an example of an ad that I just whipped up quickly. So this is just one for hats, and pretty much you just want to have a customer image, no call to action button. You want to make it look like a review. So what I do is I put in these emoji stars there, and I have a little quote, and then just pretty much change up the quote for each image. You don't want them all to be straight 5-star, mix them up between 4 and 5-star, so it does look realistic. And this is speaking if you don't actually have current reviews. If you do have current reviews on your website, then you can just take them straight from your website and put them into the ad. Now, if you don't have current reviews, you don't have customer images, then it's just easy. It's just as easy as jumping on AliExpress. If you are drop shipping, that is, find the product you are selling, jump down into the feedback section here, and then just look for all the reviews with pictures. And then you can just literally pull them out from there. Try to pick out pictures that have the customer in it, or they look quite raw and organic. Because that way, it gives it a bit more of a natural appeal to those that are familiar with your brand and they are considering buying. Now again, depending on the product, you might not be able to incorporate the customer into it. So if you can kind of work it so that it's quite obvious it's a customer image, you're just having to get a little creative, use a little bit of imagination to figure out how this is going to apply to your product you're selling. So jumping back to the text. Now the copy I like to use is something along the lines of like, haven't got your, and then like the name of the product. Take a look at our happy customers, or what our happy customers have to say. So that's pretty much like the example I used there. Haven't got your hat, take a look what our happy customers have to say. Slide along, like these just random photos I picked up of sunglasses, but these are the hats. And again, like the aim here is to make it look like a review, and this is going to be targeting everyone who visited your website in the last 3 days. So they're still fresh. They're going to remember your brand right away. They're going to remember your product, and then right away they're going to see that these positive reviews, there's been other happy customers, and that's just going to push them along what we call the funnel, to convince them or get them closer to the sale. Okay, so moving on to the second ad creative, and this one we're going to exclude all the 3-day visitors, and we're going to target the 7-day audience. That way we don't have to clash, and this is going to be a unboxing video, or a product review video. So if you have the content yourself, that's great. Perhaps you might be able to pull it up from an influencer campaign you used. Otherwise, you can jump onto YouTube or Facebook or the product page on AliExpress, and you can usually find some video material that you can work with. And we're going to run this as a conversions ad. We're going to include a call to action shop now button going to the product page. And depending on the video, if it's an unboxing video, then you can use the text, the copy along the lines of a live unboxing from one happy customer. Or if it's a review, you could use something like this. Still not sure if, and the product name is for you. See what this happy customer has to say about it. This gives, and this really just gives your traffic, your audience, and the option to see the product in action in video format. So after that, we have ad creative 3, and we're excluding all the 7-day audience, and we're targeting the 14-day audience. This is going to be a very simple ad, because by now this segment of the audience, they've seen at least 3 variations of your ad. So this is going to be a very simple, straightforward ad. Single image of the product, and then in the copy, you're just going to offer them a 10% discount if they complete their purchase today. Now the final ad is even simpler. I'll just send them back to the original ad. That's it. And I target the 60-day audience. I exclude the 14-day audience. So it's quite a broad time frame of people within this audience. By this point, a lot of that warm traffic has probably cooled down a bit. So when they see your original ad again, it may not be at the top of their head, but it reminds them of everything they saw prior to that. So that's essentially my advertising strategy. I plug that in, I set up the audiences, and then I just let it run. And then I just keep an eye on the metrics. If I'm not getting purchases, but I'm getting add to carts for less than $3, then I'll just keep it running, because that's getting, to me, that's getting data, that's getting more people into my my retargeting system essentially, and it's contributing to my custom audiences. It's making them bigger, of these retargeting audiences, so that eventually when they are ready to purchase, they will be targeted by one of these 4 ads, and then I'll be making that sale. So I recommend you guys give this a shot. See how it works with your business, whether you're running a drop shipping business and you're testing multiple different categories and niches of products, or if you're a branded business and you sell one type of product and different variations. It can work for either model. So definitely give it a shot. I'd love to hear anyone's feedback or anyone's positive results with this formula. So you can either hit me up on my YouTube or on my Facebook group. So don't forget my Facebook group's here. Feel free to join. Even drop a comment, say you found me from this video or whatever, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit a like if you enjoyed this video. I'm always loving getting that positive feedback, and growing my subs as well. And I'm going to finish on that. I'm not going to keep blabbing along. I wish everyone the best with their e-commerce ventures, and it's going to be another video dropping soon, so look forward to that. Peace.